The game plays right here.
Are you ready for some football?
Your sports leader, WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, and WCSL Cherryville Gastonia.
Chosen breed, you don't see too many like me, cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you, cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets, come on, you know me, cause that's who I am.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, however you are listening, wherever you may be, live from Cherryville, North Carolina. It is episode 93 of Shock Joxx. Kevin, did you ever think we would get close to 100 before Facebook or somebody just said, we've had enough of you and shut us down?
If we'd have done this show prior to 2016, Hunter, I would say that our growth and our there wouldn't have been any worry about that,
Right.
but it's weird how the social media does their dances, who they allowed to post what, who they allowed to post like music,
Who they promote.
whether it's music, whether it's WWE replays. We've been shut down, not showing a match, like
There's a
just
replay. You can go and
showing
find it
a
on
highlight
YouTube.
on YouTube while broadcasting on YouTube.
Right.
So how that made any sense, we don't know.
I don't know.
So
But we've almost made it to 100.
and you can't do music. But
No.
but if you're a person, you can. I've seen people post themselves at the beach, listening to whatever music radio station's on, and then just post like a 3-minute video of them sitting there listening to music at the beach, and that's okay.
They do those reaction videos all the time of
I can't
old
get- I
woman
can't
reacts to Eminem. I'm like, is Eminem not copyrighting that? Or?
But it's supposed to be something of the nature of if you make it your own work, like a news story or something else,
Right.
then you can do whatever. However,
It's
that's
like
what we did.
Yeah, it's like
That's what
the
we've done.
Free Creative Act
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
I don't know, but regardless, ladies and gentlemen, we're almost to episode 100.
Right. We need to.
For those of you that have been
count
day
that out and
oneers,
make a couple of
yeah.
invites to make sure Gene's here, Tom's here, maybe Chris.
For those of you that have been day
Get a couple
oneers,
people.
we of course want to send a big thank you for those of you that have been with us
Right.
along this early journey, and for those of you who are just now finding out about us, welcome to the club. Welcome to the club.
Yeah, and we're not saying we're not giving any, inside information. We're not giving any, every now and then we have people talk to in certain things and in certain industries, but for the most part, we're doing our best to give our point of view from our point of view and give quality production here, Hunter. And
Right.
not as far as like, no total bull crap, but because when I do
Not all of it.
when I throw some bull crap out there, I usually laugh at myself or y'all make fun of me, but I do it usually with a reason or with a purpose.
And you want to know what I think I really like about what we do is I love the Barstool aspect that they do, where it's not so uptight. Everybody's in suits and ties.
Right.
It's blue collar,
Right.
and people forget most sports talk is at like a dinner table. It's at like a bar. It's at like the barber shop maybe down the street. It's just a bunch of guys that are blue collar, and so that's what I liked about Barstool, and that's what I like that we do. You know, me and you aren't sitting here in buttoned up shirts trying to look professional like we're on television. I mean,
we say who our teams are too.
Yeah, we say who our teams are, and one of the things that I really enjoy that we do as well is we will speak on narratives that maybe the larger media companies will just overlook because they don't want to talk about those teams. You know, they're not one of the big market teams or one of the local, like, you know, the guys that are hot at the time. Like, they always talk about the Chiefs. Well, maybe we want to talk about Jacksonville today, you know? Maybe there's a story that they aren't going to go in depth on television that we'll talk about.
You mean we'll actually point out, Hunter, that you know, whatever I would say the mainstream would say. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like with voting and everything. You know, we're in election year, and it's almost, you know, when you're watching a sports team, Hunter, and let's say the Yankees and Red Sox are playing.
Right.
If you don't have anything to do with them, are you watching that?
No.
Now, what if they told you, but whatever happens between those two affects your life?
Then you'd watch.
So that's basically politics in a sense for some people. Is that there is a ton of people that don't even want to get involved,
right?
And then there's some people that want to get involved and don't understand why there's not a third party or someone other than the lesser of two evils per se to discuss, and as far as the way our government is, and so those people, it's almost like watching a Red Sox Yankees game and being a baseball fan. Maybe you'll watch it if it's or the World Series, Yankees Dodgers. Maybe you'll watch it, maybe you won't. But it affects you a little bit. It affects you in certain ways. And some folks, like we said, we're not gonna do the narrative. I got my handy Angels last place helmet right here. Is what I call this. My helmet. This is my Mike Trout helmet.
The Los Angeles Angels in last place. Who the mainstream media? That's what we were just talking about. Would talk about them for hours.
Yeah,
they would have a whole segment on them, and they're not even relevant right now.
Yeah, we're not going to break down.
No,
you know, Hunter,
it's one of those things
you're not
where
gonna
I
turn
think
on TV and see a Cincinnati Bengals or Miami Dolphins or Carolina Panthers breakdown of anything. They're going to talk the Cowboys. They're going to talk to Patriots.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They're going to talk the major media, the ones that making all the money. And see, that's what I like about, I think, what we do as well is, whether it's our Monday, Wednesday shows or Saturday shows, for the most part, we're not biased. But if we are, it's just because it's our team.
Yeah.
Like, we are very adamant when we talk about our teams. Just like Terry will never come in here and say the Dallas Cowboys won't be ready for a Super Bowl.
No.
But that's just a Cowboys fan in general.
And one of the things also as well, I'm as far as I'm concerned, I'm not a person that crowns somebody while they're still playing.
Crown them.
Like, yeah, if we're going to crown them. Like, I'm not going to say this is the greatest thing I've ever seen when I feel like I've seen different or seen better or know better or let it over. Like, how many times have I come on here, Hunter, and said, on Saturdays, Mondays, or Wednesdays, I think Jimmy Johnson's the greatest driver ever. You may have heard it come out of my mouth 2-3 times in a kind of just a random conversation. Maybe I do, maybe I don't, but I'm not going to sit here and talk about it while he's still going. He could win an 8th championship, but obviously he's not going to, and it's not going to happen.
Right. And
so the last 4 years, it's sucked for him, what they've done. And then so let's start there. We've got NASCAR is Wednesdays. We get into a little bit, and we've got our NFL power rankings to talk about with some World Series, and then, of course, my college football playoff bracket. Eric Jones has announced that he is going to be in the 43 car, Hunter.
Okay.
So Jones has moved to the 43. Look, that Jordan then bought the team that was the 13 car, but Hunter, due to some sleuth work in the patent companies, they have found out that it's going to be something like, it's going to be called 2311 XJ Racing or something like that. But anyway, whatever the name is, it's going to be a weird name.
Right.
But the number, apparently it looks like he is going to be able to buy and switch to 23.
That's cool, man.
It is.
That's really cool for Jordan. That's really cool.
I was wondering if he was going to be able to buy 45. I was just trying to remember. I can't remember 23 being actually on the track, but 45 has been on the track quite a bit. And I didn't know if he was going to end up in the 45
You
car.
buy it? Imagine that.
But it's looking
Imagine
like
that. Title sponsor
he will
is
be-
Jordan.
he'll
If the
get
title
23.
sponsor was Jordan and the Jordan car is riding around, it's 23. That's just going to look sweet.
Right.
That's just going to look cool. And what if, now bear with me, what if every week, well, they probably couldn't do every week because it would get expensive changing up like the paint scheme and whatnot. But
They do it anyway.
well, true. But
because
every,
they don't paint no more. It's the wraps.
It's
They
wraps.
just
That's
print that
right.
junk-
That's
that
right.
stuff off.
I know a guy that does wraps on vehicles. I don't know if he
Yeah.
does anything for NASCAR, but
That's
but
quick.
just think, every week if they paid homage to one of his shoes.
You talking about paint schemes like
Yes,
That's a good idea.
That is a cool
That's a good
idea.
idea.
Cut that out. We'll sip it. We'll send it to him.
More than
I
likely-
want credit for that, Michael.
More than likely, Hunter. I would say the Jordan brand will probably be a secondary or third sponsor.
Probably money wise.
Because they want to make money. So the way the NASCAR teams make
he would
money,
just be throwing money.
right. He would just be throwing his basketball shoe money, which he can't afford to.
Yeah.
He makes so much more money than everyone else in
I know.
Nike. It's insane. Which he could.
Could you imagine those?
He could write this off honestly with how much
technically.
money he makes.
Yeah.
In sneaker
Could you
money.
think though? Like, do they make? I'm trying to think if Denny wears them. Do they make like a special Jordan racing shoe?
I don't know about shoe. He's got his logos on his stuff.
That's what I mean.
so-
Like he's got his logos obviously on his fire suit and
I
whatnot.
doubt
But it's only because I was wondering. You know, I had a pair of Jordan baseball cleats growing up. That
Now-
was because Derek Jeter had them.
Now,
I
Hunter-
didn't know if he would maybe think about dripping his driver out in Bubba and nothing but Air Jordan.
So now that you asked that, the answer is yes. They actually have a pair of Denny Hamlin. It says Jordan Motorsports. Golly, I'm gonna get deep in a rabbit hole.
This is
here
a
in
rabbit
second.
hole, and I am excited to see where this goes. Jordan Motorsports.
Well, look at him there, Hunter. Let's pull him up. Where's my internet? There we go.
Look at him.
There's the goat. Now this is from 2017. So
I know that ain't him on that motorcycle.
that's just Jordan Suzuki, 23.
Look at him
the
being an
logo on it.
entrepreneur, getting into all sorts of. Or no, that's what is that? No, not an entrepreneur. What is it? A philanthropist? Is that the one that like-
Entrepreneur, a philanthropist is giving away money for good deeds.
Okay, never
entrepreneur is a businessman.
Okay, so he's being an entrepreneur, just
Yeah.
buying stakes in every racing company, and now he owns a basketball team. Who knows? Maybe he'll try and be part of the ownership if they bring a major league team to
Now
North Carolina.
that's Jordan.
Oh yeah, now that is Jordan. Yes. Now how fast is he going around that turn?
So apparently, this is 2007. So this ain't got nothing to do with it. But this is talking about Jordan needed a racing suit, and he got on it with Nike. So they've actually been through this process at some point before, Hunter.
So he's ready. Essentially,
Yeah.
there'll be no big difference.
there was nothing better pair than a pair of sneakers on a motorcycle. Is what it said. Look at that one,
Oof! Look at that.
Carolina.
Look at that helmet.
Yeah,
That's sick.
yeah.
For those of you that are listening in podcast
think about
land,
this.
we're sorry that
Yeah,
you
right.
can't see what we're looking at. But
So think about this, Hunter. You know, going soccer wise, if the Tar Heels ever did their football uniforms like soccer uniforms, that's what it would look like. With
Right.
the Team Jordan logo on the helmet instead of the NC or the Tar Heel.
all right,
You know, if they really want to, they could just instead of if they do want to get rid of the Tar Heel name, Hunter, just call them the Jordans.
call him the flight.
North Carolina Jordan.
Call him Air. North
Speaking
Carolina
of flight,
Air.
look at that helmet in the Nike.
See, that's what I
original
mean,
Jordan
though, that
ones.
you could do with
the paint
scheme.
Right.
You could just pay homage to one of his, retro shoes, or maybe he's got a new shoe coming off the line this year. I saw one of his Jordan brand athletes plays for my Wizards. Rui Hachimura is getting ready to have his shoe come out. Imagine if they were getting ready to race this weekend for NASCAR, but the wrap was to promote Rui's shoe.
Okay, so
That would be so sick.
so from 2006.
Why do we have great ideas, but nobody's really here to take them?
So from 2006 to 2014,
And pay me for it.
Jordan Motorsports did this, and they did. He says they did the bikes and paint schemes to match up the the shoes.
That's a great idea.
In those years.
That's a great idea. I would do it, especially coming up for NASCAR. Why not?
It says
It'd probably be the nicest looking car on the track.
the motorsports team stopped in 2014, but its archive of bikes and equipment sits safely in Beaverton.
Okay, so it's out there with Nike and
Oregon
Oregon.
State,
Yeah.
So here's you some Jordan racing gear from his motorcycle teams.
Look at that.
folks.
That's really cool, man.
So yeah,
He could have fun with it, you know?
right, absolutely. Yeah, almost. You're right to a point, Hunter. You could almost do like a ton of different paint schemes by the Jordan, and I bet they will. Especially when because if he's the secondary sponsor on it, they get like six weeks.
Oh,
Of
absolutely.
being the main sponsor.
Well, even then, like, you mean Nike wouldn't want to? If Nike was a main sponsor, you mean to tell me they wouldn't want to do some crazy paint schemes?
Let me type in Denny Hamlin real quick and see his Team Jordan. So let's see. So Eric Jones is going to the 43. Huh?
Nothing.
Of course, Bubba Loss is in the 23. I was looking to see on some of his stuff. Like Hunter, this is really about all I've ever seen. Is on that's
me.
Is this right here? Like on his shoulder patch?
Yeah.
It's
Shoulder
just got
patch
the,
is
it's
the
just got
Nike.
the Jordan
It's just
logo.
the Jordan.
Well, I don't think I don't know if the actual suits are logoed up like that, or exactly what all is. But anyway, excited to see it. Again, you know, I don't know how the team will do. One car teams, maybe future 2-car team, but you know,
Well, if he had the money to go ahead and get 2 cars, I know a guy that just got reinstated.
yeah. That's the other news this week. Kyle Larson reinstated. Hunter, to me, I think isn't he going to? They didn't announce who's going to the 88 yet, right? I think that's.
I don't think there's been.
that's the
I
big
don't think
rumor.
there's been an announcement yet about Kyle Larson
Right.
going in any car.
So I
just the fact that he's back.
Right. So I think the big rumor in NASCAR is that Larson will be going to the 88. We'll see. He's announced that he's been reinstated. NASCAR said he's been reinstated now, but he can't start until the 2021 season so he can secure sponsorship deals. So that's the deal with Larson. Everybody thinks it's 88. We hadn't heard anything from him. And with Eric Jones going to the 43, because a lot of people thought he was going to 88.
Do you think Kyle Larson will have trouble getting sponsors?
No.
You don't?
No. All you need is one. It's kind of one of those things where, you know, kind of like, say, Antonio Brown or maybe some folks might not want on our teams. All you need is one. Sponsorship stuff, they'll have to work around or deal with whatever they did. I haven't seen any rumors or heard anything on that though. Let me look through some of this 43 stuff. Eric Jones joined Richard Petty Motorsports, of course. Let's see. It says multi-year deal, but it doesn't say exact. Jones is a fairly decent driver. This is probably one of the best drivers they've had in the 43, maybe just when they first signed up. Bobby Labonte obviously was good. And I saw the tweet earlier. Bobby Labonte, Bubba Wallace, Richard, of course, and then there was another one that ran in the 43 for quite a number of years. Labonte won a championship, but not with the 43 team. So they don't really say too much, anything interesting I haven't seen or heard on that. So you know that's the NASCAR news this weekend. Going to Texas, should be a big week. Next weekend is Halloween weekend, but they're already starting off some paint schemes. Hunter, let's go through them real quick, and then we'll get into our power rankings in the NFL. Discount Tire, nothing new.
I'm just glad that they're gonna do Halloween style paint schemes.
Hunt Brothers.
I love it when they do. I like it when
There's a dark Hooters car.
You gotta love it.
With pink letters.
You gotta love it. I like when, not just like NFL, but like maybe like just video games, NFL, NASCAR, MLB, any kind of entertainment. I like when they kind of start doing designs and kind of getting in the spirit of the holiday that's coming up. So like when you see, like think about it. That looks really cool. I don't know if that's meant for Halloween, but that is a really cool paint scheme. There are collectors out there that love die-cast.
Right.
And you and this is your opportunity for them to basically go out, that once in a lifetime opportunity, get this Halloween special Jimmy Johnson car.
Right.
And Jimmy's last year. One of those things. I think that I like when businesses get behind that because it is a good marketing scheme.
So the 14 there, Chase Briscoe. The Xfinity Series will be moving up into the 14 with Clint Bowyer retiring. Yep. So we're losing Bowyer and Johnson this year, and then we're getting Briscoe, and then basically Kyle Larson back.
That's actually one of the headlines here. Briscoe lands the childhood hero Stewart's number 14 car.
Yeah, that was a nice little touching story there about that is his hero. That was his favorite driver and everything growing up. Blah blah blah. And it is a touching story. You say whatever you want about Tony Stewart. He's a good driver.
Yes.
But there's things that he may not should be in the position he's in right now.
Right.
According to some people. There's the 48 car this weekend.
I do like that. I do
you know
like
the story
that.
about this?
No, is this for breast cancer?
No, there was that's their colors anyway. But
yeah.
I'm gonna get the story wrong, but some kid was bullied online, LGBTQ kid, and he designs cars. That was his dream, design stuff.
Oh, okay.
Basically, Jimmy found out or something about it, or he's his favorite. I don't know the exact story, but this is his design. Is that he actually designed? Jimmy
That's
let
nice.
him design the car.
That's nice. I like that. I like that story. I like that. That's cool. He designs cars.
I think they should, with the way design tools are nowadays and the way they do the wraps like they can every week, they ought to have more opportunities for fans to help design the cars.
What is something that I've always tried to bring up every time I talk about NASCAR in some capacity? It's how to get more fan interaction involved in the sport. Because what a lot of, like, even when we had Jesse on here and we were first talking about it, and he admitted it, he said, you're in a privileged opportunity to even be able to try and drive cars to work your way up to NASCAR. He said it's an expensive sport. Not every kid just has the opportunity to go out here with mom and pop and get themselves in like a go-kart league or whatnot and race and try and work their way up. So for you to make it a little bit...
Even the smallest of leagues, like go-kart league, is still expensive as all get out.
Right.
It's extremely expensive. You have to put basically, your parents, they work their jobs, and then,
you put all that into the
every
go-kart.
bit of money is going into a go-kart, and then if you're not winning and not doing anything, you're burning a ton of cash. But I did. One of my best friends raced go-karts growing up, and his son is, I know I'm gonna mess up, 3 or 4 now. Mm-hmm. And I just mentioned the other day we was playing golf, and I said, is your boy gonna race? And he said, yeah, I hope so, so I can too. It didn't have anything to do with him wanting to be a good dad and helping his son. He's like, yeah, I hope he can, because I can too.
But like I was saying, like, you have to try and make it personable somehow to fans and get them involved, because they don't always just get to go out and drive really fast like they would want to in their favorite NASCAR driver is. So if you were able to do more things NASCAR-wise to get the fans involved, I threw around having a Friday night for their weekend thing with Xfinity and NASCAR, having like a Friday night race your dude in race your against race car drivers in iRacing, something like that. But even this, what is it? We're gonna fans send in this week your design for the car. We're gonna pick maybe 3 lucky winners and put them on such and such cars.
I think a good one would be like they should have go-karts of each car at the track, and fans could enter to either race in them and have a fan race.
Right. Are you talking about on the track or on a little go-kart track?
No.
In the infield.
Around the little... so when you look at a track, like, say, Charlotte, for example, they've got actual when you go there, they've got all these little side roads and stuff around, and you don't pay attention. It's like that don't look like the real track.
All right.
But those are actually for like Legends cars and old cars and stuff. So they actually have the tracks built in there.
Okay.
So, and there's actually a go-kart track right behind the stadium, like if you really wanted to do it there. But I'm talking about like every track where you go. And so I've got tickets to the track. So, Hunter, let's say I register Austin for the Sunday race.
Yeah.
And then before the race is going, while they're doing all their bull crap and stuff, some of the fans, during pit time, they have a kids race
That'd be nice.
with on the little go-karts. And you just register.
Listen, NASCAR.
randomly pick-
NASCAR.
I'm sure you could make money.
Our phones are wide open. All right. Just ring, ring. All right.
We won't.
We got ideas.
Yeah. Oh,
We'll sell them to you for a small loan of $1 million.
now we are full of ideas. Now whether they are great, good.
Well, I'll tell you right now, these NASCAR ideas, I don't think we've had a bad one. Because if anything,
we've hit that part.
What has been always like the knock? They've said NASCAR's needed to find a way to find it and bring in new fans. Well, we're just thinking of opportunities. Absolutely, whether or not you do exactly what we say, but we're open to tweaks.
I'm just trying to think from a kid's standpoint. Like when I bring my kid to the race. So before the race in Charlotte, they have Monster Energy being they're not the thing anymore.
I know.
So while they were the main sponsor, they had basically a trick pit. So before the races and stuff, they had motorcycles and people out there doing all kinds of stuff. And I thought that was pretty neat.
Monsters in a lot of things other than just NASCAR.
Yeah. But again, I was just like, what can you do to get the kids involved while they're at the track? And I was like, there's nothing for them to ride that I'm sitting in the 11 car, whether it's a train, bumper cars,
or whatever.
They can have think about it, they can have all kinds of stuff out there. Bumper cars, regular go-karts, whatever.
Well, the grounds at Concord is huge.
Yeah.
Just the grounds alone, because not only that, it's the racetrack alone, and then it stretches the Z-Max to the drag strip. So they could put a lot of things in between there.
So there's an iRacing car from Jordan. See what you think about this one.
Oof. I can see it out of the corner. That looks really nice. Look at that.
It was a Jordan brand iRacing car design.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I like that. I do. It's just one of those things where they can do it. They can have a lot of fun fan-wise with these vehicles, and especially with wraps. Especially because it is wrapped, and they're not
just do whatever you print, whatever you want.
Yeah, just print whatever you want. You could have a 5-year-old draw squiggly lines, and that's your design. Congratulations.
Put your face on. All right, well,
put your face here.
Like in Ricky Bobby, they put the cougar on.
Yeah, they did put the cougar.
Him holding that cougar.
What somebody needs to do is they need to send in if NASCAR ever did get behind that. All right, submit something and we'll choose it and see if it wins. I just want everybody to get in a big group call or big group message that was going to send something in and say, I don't care what you put design wise, but you need to put, if you're not first, you're last on there, and have that on one of these cars going around the track.
I say that should be on the bumper of every car.
If you're not first, you're last.
Yes, every car should say that.
Yeah.
I'm
fine with it.
You like that decree?
I like that decree.
We come up with some good rules.
It's like paying a little homage.
We've had some baseball rules we come up with. We've had a few basketball and football, and I like the penalty box ideas. Let's move over into the NFL, and we'll talk Kevin's Super Bowl poll.
Wait, I'm not getting kicked off because I'm mouthing that, am I?
Maybe.
Damn.
Who knows?
You never know. Anyways, NFL friggin' football. We had 2 games this week, or Monday.
Yeah.
We did. We had 2 games Monday.
Was either one of them worth it?
The Buffalo and Kansas City game would have been a lot better if it was not raining and disgusting outside. It was 20, if I'm not mistaken, final score was 26-17. So closer than I expected it could have been in the rain. But I felt like Buffalo definitely would have had a better opportunity if it's not raining.
Right.
I think they would have been able to utilize Josh Allen's arm more because of just how far he can really throw the ball, take the top off on the defense for Kansas City. They weren't able to do that. The problem is this year, it's not the offense for Buffalo. It's that defense. The game prior, they
Yeah, what
allow.
happened to them?
I don't know.
They've been awful.
The game prior, they allow 40 plus to the Tennessee Titans, which they did. Tennessee put up 40 again this week, and then Kansas City, we know how prolific their offense is last year and this year, but even still, that defense, they could not find Travis Kelce to save their life. He's on my fantasy team. I was happy he went off, but he had like 2 or 3 touchdowns. Had a ton of yards. They could not stop Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They could not stop him from running the football. If I'm not mistaken, he had almost 150 plus yards on that game. I don't understand it. I really don't. They were the number 2 ranked defense last year. Now they're almost in the 30s. They're almost 30th or 32. Maybe after this weekend they were. So I don't know. So offensively, that's not the question for the Bills. It's what's wrong with their defense. And then Kansas City flexed again, showed everybody, yeah, we kind of have some weapons everywhere. Oh, not to mention this coming week, Le'Veon Bell joins us. So enjoy that when we get to full strength.
Is that
cheating?
no? I mean, I haven't seen Bell do anything in 2 years.
I haven't either. He sat out in technically 3 because he sat out in 2018.
And the kid that played the other night played outstanding.
Yes.
So
I think it would be more one of the things where, everybody's kind of going running back by committee just to take some of the wear and tear off of the running backs.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. I can't remember who was talking about it. They were on air talking about it. And it was because Edwards-Helaire in college was only like the bell cow one season. So he's not really accustomed to being the guy that just takes the brunt of the work. And if you have the opportunity to add Le'Veon Bell, who if he's even close to anything he was in like 17, is going to be fantastic. But I think they said also they needed to fill that because Damian Williams, they were missing him, what he brought to the table last year. But I know exactly what you're talking about. We haven't seen Le'Veon Bell actually be anything close to what he was in 2017. But it's hard for me to say, is that him or was it the Jets?
Well,
Because the Jets are an absolute dumpster fire.
know.
The thing he was in like 17
Where is that?
is going to be fantastic. But I think they said also
Trying to figure out my buttons here. Yeah, Hunter. I don't know, man. They're doing something different there.
yeah, but I think it makes Kansas City just as dangerous.
I just want to see it with him. I don't necessarily need him, but we'll see.
It's one of those things where you might not need him, but
like
it ain't going to hurt to have him.
That's true too.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're him, I just didn't know. I thought he would be somewhere else specifically, but
he's only there for a year though.
yeah.
So if he wants to walk next year and go somewhere else, try and get some more money, why not? This could be one thing for him too. We see it with a lot of players. If they've been let go by one of their teams and they're kind of just floating around at this point, he might be ring chasing this year. He might be seeing that Kansas City has the real opportunity to be the one that makes it to the championship and then goes on to win it. Why not? Sometimes it's just difficult for a position like the running back to just get so lucky and always be in a Super Bowl opportunity because it's so dependent about how the team as a whole is around you. It has nothing to do with your play. It's just about the team around you as a whole. And he talked his way out of Pittsburgh and ended up with the god-awful New York Jets. So if it's him, maybe he's come around and said, you know what, I kind of need to try and get myself a ring. I don't blame him. Other game from Monday was the Arizona Cardinals and the Dallas Cowboys. And my goodness, Dallas looks horrible. Dallas looks absolutely horrible. And I don't understand why, because they have so much talent around the ball. And I don't think Andy Dalton is that bad anyways. But Zeke fumbling twice obviously doesn't help. I don't know if it's going to be put all at the feet of McCarthy or if it needs to be put on that defensive coordinator. But my God, Dallas sitting at 2-4 leading the division. There's a reason why they're 2-4. And you saw it on display against the Cardinals. That defense is horrible.
Hunter, why am I wearing a brown shirt right now?
Because you don't like Jerry Jones.
So whose fault is it They're 2-4.
Mike McCarthy.
No, it is not. Whose fault is it? They're 2-4.
Jerry?
There you go.
Is it, or is it Dak breaking his ankle?
Okay, let's talk about Dak breaking his ankle. What was the record before he broke his ankle?
1-3.
And the game he broke his ankle and someone else came in, did they win?
Yeah.
Now, is that the only pretty much legitimate win of the two? Remember,
Yes,
Dak's win was an onside kick
That the Falcons
fiasco.
just went dumb on.
So again, let's put the name Romo on it. Let's say they're 1-3 with Romo, and his ankle just fell off, and the only win was the Falcons not jumping on an onside kick.
I don't know.
Are people saying, "Yeah, we probably should get Romo back"?
I don't know. I don't know. I get Andy Dalton looked to me though. He looked a little overwhelmed.
You know what they did? Did you look at the box score?
They sacked him a lot.
Yeah, he threw 50 times.
I don't
Now
know why.
that you can blame on the coaching
No,
staff.
yes, exactly.
That
They
you can
did-
blame on the coaches.
They did
but
the same
2-4 and the worst defense in the NFL. That's Jerry.
They did
but-
the same
but that's
exact
coaching.
thing when Dak was in. They were going to
Yeah.
let him throw 50-plus times.
I don't get it.
I don't know what Zeke fumbles twice and you decide to take it out of his hands.
They
You don't
don't-
have Tony Pollard sitting there in your back pocket that you can just pull out if you don't really want to hand it off to Zeke because you don't trust him.
Is Dallas and Carolina regretting spending this money on these running backs?
They did give Zeke a lot of money.
They got 16. McCaffrey's got 15.
Well,
They're-
what I don't
they're 2-1
understand
without him.
though is you gave him the $16 million and you just don't use him. So that essentially is wasted money.
Yeah.
I don't quite
If
understand
you're going
that.
to pay Matt, you might as well.
Well, we'll see about the Christian McCaffrey part when he comes back healthy. Because
Yeah.
if they go back to him, then it's like, okay, you're trying to get your money's worth. This is what you paid for. We're going to use him. If you're Dallas, they're not even trying to get their money's worth. They're like, all right, we paid him, but let's see if we can throw the ball 60 times.
they paid him.
You pay a running back
Thanked him for it.
top dollar, but you want to throw all over the yard, and I don't quite understand it. It's just one of those things to me. I think Dallas has their priorities wrong. I think they really do. They didn't address what they should have addressed, which was defense. Everybody could have said that from the beginning. They did draft. I like Diggs, Trevon Diggs, their cornerback. They got him in the second round. I thought that was a steal, to be honest. But other than that, you look across the board of your Dallas, and just nothing is working out. And I don't want to put all of the blame on Mike McCarthy, but I think he deserves some of it, and definitely, in fact, with not many teams are just asking their quarterback, whether it is Dak, Andy Dalton, or hell, even if it was Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, to throw 50 times. They're not. When it comes down to that, you become predictable. And not only that, you really can't have the luxury to just drop back and throw it 50 times because your offensive line is diminished. Their offensive line is not the offensive line of a year ago, or at least 2 years
I'm
ago.
glad you hit that part because if you remember Saturday, I brought that up, that specific thing with Tyron Smith. He's one of the best tackles in football, and he's out. Travis Frederick retired. He may have been the best center in football. He's out. Did you see Zach Martin?
Zach Martin got hurt,
He got a concussion.
and he's under concussion protocol. Could be out.
So, again, your three studs are not there.
And one of them ain't coming back.
Your
The
quarterback's
Frederick.
not there. You have no defense. And it's time, Hunter, to say this isn't the year.
Oh, I don't ever think it's the
And
year
they
for Dallas,
but Jerry and them don't operate that way. They don't talk about that that way. And then
No, they don't, because Jerry has the same mindset that every Cowboys fan has every year. We're gonna make the Super Bowl this year. If everything just gets right, we're gonna make the Super Bowl this year.
Until you tell me they have a top 5-10 defense, I will never, ever, ever, ever think that they're going to make that. They haven't made an NFC champ. Where's that? Let me pull it. I had that one. Since 1996, Hunter, 8 teams have not made the NFC champion and in a championship game appearance. Cowboys, Bills, Dolphins, Browns, Bengals, Redskins, Lions, and Texans. Now, if you go back to 1990, of course, the Bills, Cowboys, and Redskins come off that, and then the 5 would be Dolphins, Browns, Texans, Lions, and Bengals. But just to be even on that list at some
That's
point,
not a good sign.
is not where you want to be. And again, Here's one thing. Let me give you the best example of why I don't believe they're going to ever be good without that good defense. Is that, we talk about these teams like the Browns haven't replaced Bernie Kosar, and the Bills didn't replace Jim Kelly until now, and the Dolphins have still not replaced Dan Marino, and we look at those teams, but you know what the Cowboys have never replaced?
Aikman.
Darren Woodson.
Oh, defense.
They have never replaced Darren Woodson. We talk about these defensive ends all the time, and I try to tell people, I'm like, and folks will say it's the same thing with the running backs. They'll say, well, the value of safety is not there. You know what? I think people are making it's almost like this, Hunter. Let's say 90% of the running backs in the NFL are probably much the same, right?
You'd think so.
But that top 10%, they're a little different, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're a little bit something extra.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with the safeties. You can have 28 safeties in the NFL be the same. Good, average, above average. But there's 4 or 5 or 6 are like, damn, those dudes run that defense.
Listen.
And those defenses with the best safeties tend to do really,
right now,
really good.
Sitting on the market is Earl Thomas. I know he's had some baggage with him off the football field.
You don't want him at 2-4, though, do you?
I don't know if you want him at 2-4.
I asked that question.
Listen, he was supposed to have a workout with the Texans, but the players themselves didn't want him.
Here's what's bad about them being 2-4. They're in first.
Yeah.
How about them first place Cowboys?
God almighty. That's the worst first place team I've ever
Washington
seen.
Fan, did you see the news about them today?
Yeah, it was
You still
dumb.
might be the same team
football
next year.
team next year. Well, because of
Why does it take so long to come up with a name?
I don't know. Do you have a name picked out in the first place? Well, I would much
Even
rather
if you
them
don't
do
have the
trademark.
You could at least come out and
They
say
say
what
we're
going to
be the. That's what I'm saying. God, dude.
I want logos and stuff aren't ready.
I want to know who we're gonna be. Sure, if we have to be Washington football team next year, cool. But at least tell me what I get to look forward to. Fine, Kevin. After I heard that story today, do you know how close I was to just say, you know what, this is about to be a brand new football team. I can jump ship at any time.
I'm trying to tell you, man.
I can jump ship at any time.
You have no. If think about it, like I said about the Cowboys, are they your rival now? If it's not Cowboys, I know it's Cowboys and Indians, whether it's Washington or not. But that was what set up the rivalry. Now,
the problem is who am I going to pull for? Because if I go to the Bills, who I do really enjoy watching, I love watching Josh Allen, everybody's going to look at me and say, "Oh, you're just a bandwagon now."
I got teams for you. First of all, the Browns. Do you not remember that? Do you not hear that?
I do have
the 8 teams I just announced.
Listen, I do have a Baker Mayfield jersey.
I know. So you've got a Baker jersey. You've got Johnny Mayfield. Not Mayfield. I went to high school with somebody named Johnny Mayfield. So I put Johnny Manziel and Baker Mayfield together.
I have Johnny Manziel's shirt from college.
Another team I was going to put on. I was going to mention Hunter would be a good team to switch to if you're going to the AFC.
I think that's how I would have to go.
Haven't had success. But I don't know how you feel because they've played your Washington team in a Super Bowl, the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, but I don't like Tua.
Okay. Well, he might not be the quarterback next year.
Well, he's the quarterback this coming weekend.
What if he goes 0-5, whatever, 0-6? Because remember, folks, just last week we predicted that the Dolphins could end up at some point in their season 7-5, but we did that with Fitzpatrick at quarterback.
Right. He was winning.
He was 3-3. Hunter, is he the only NFL quarterback, and he probably is in NFL history, who won back-to-back games by more than 24 points and got benched?
Probably. That's a fun ESPN little stat for
he
you
won
there.
Back-to-back games by more than 24.
Tweet it out. Well, now I'm sitting here wondering who I would pull for. If I jump ship because Washington is, I could just pull for Burrow and the Bengals.
Houston. Franchised. They're
brand expansion
team that has no history, no nothing. Hey, you can still pull against the Cowboys if you want. It's the AFC. You can say screw the Cowboys. That might set up as a good spot for you. I love the Bengals helmets. I'd be a Bengals fan if they hadn't made the Super Bowl. And that was one of Markoffs on.
All right, this is what's so crazy. This is what's so crazy. I've got friends that can vouch for this too. The reason why I said the Bengals, the year they drafted AJ Green and Andy Dalton in the same year, I said in 5 years they'll make a Super Bowl.
Well, in 5
they
years,
didn't do that. But
in 5 years, they had 5 straight winning seasons.
That's what I'm saying. That was so. I thought they were going to get there, but they never did.
Yeah, Andy Dalton had 5 straight winning seasons.
It's just tough for me because literally I have been just pulling for this Washington team since I was little.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I did have a stint where I had Panthers jerseys, but that's because my grandmother's a Panthers fan. And, of course, I saw when they made the first Super Bowl against the Patriots, and I saw when they made the second Super Bowl against the Broncos. Both of them ended up in the same way. They both lost.
Yeah.
But, so it's just one of those things where I feel like all my buddies would just give me shit because they would be like, oh, you can't just abandon your team. You can't just abandon your team. So, well, is this even a football team right now?
Yeah, I know, right? Hunter, if men were more as loyal to Jesus and their wives
as they
are to their
teams.
football teams, like you could really, like you can lose friends,
yeah,
over cheating on your football team,
mm-hmm.
but you could cheat on your wife or girlfriend with that friend, and they wouldn't bat an eye.
Now you're right. You're right.
I'm just saying society in general, folks.
Society,
not
us. No. Listen, I'm just saying this though. If I'm not mistaken, I think I heard my father say the other day he doesn't even want to root for Washington anymore. So, me and my dad, who have been lifelong Washington fans, we just might be done with this franchise.
Maryland football team is their name.
Maryland football team.
It's not.
So let's weed it out. Let's me and you weed it out. Teams I can't root for. I can't root for the Steelers. That's a personal thing. I can't root for the Steelers. I don't like Pittsburgh. Seattle has won a Super Bowl within the last decade, so that would be and they're winners. They consistently win. That would be bandwagon.
Tom said Zeke didn't fumble at Ohio State.
Well, he wasn't playing the mini Emmett he is in
Jerry
NFL.
Jones wasn't there.
True. Kansas City just won a Super Bowl last year. Can't do that. Out of your top 4, the only one I could technically root for is the Titans.
Jaguars.
I do love Minshew, but I fear that they're really screwing him.
But see, all right, so basically you got to figure out what your strategy is in picking a team.
Do I pick a loser?
Right, that was my strategy.
Right.
My strategy was that I've been blowing smoke up my ass for 20 years from Jerry Jones.
Well, if that's the case, I just stick with my loser franchise.
But again, your franchise, your owner didn't come out and say, they don't come out and say we're going to win a Super Bowl every year.
You're correct. That's what I'm saying.
They do in Dallas.
Yeah.
So you're probably more open to other teams, like say the Vikings, or
my best friend is a Vikings
Vikings
fan.
have lost 4 Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so basically you got to decide, do you want Super Bowl experience? So Hunter, here's some teams without Super Bowl experience.
I can't root for anybody else in the NFC East though. So Giants, Eagles, and Cowboys are all cut off. If I could leave Washington,
you could be a Detroit Lions fan and not have nobody's gonna say you're jumping on any bandwagon.
No. None.
Houston Texans.
Right.
I like Jacksonville as a switching team to switch to. You wouldn't switch to Atlanta unless you're just totally going in on Atlanta sports.
Oof.
You gonna be a Hawks fan too?
No.
Trey Young. Good on you.
I tell you what.
The San Diego Chargers jerseys are always fantastic. So
I do like the Chargers.
You can rock that stuff.
I like
the Bengals.
I liked them when they had Phillip Rivers.
I hate everything about the 49ers brown gold color.
I couldn't do it because they're winning right now.
NFC.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Dolphins, Vegas Raiders.
That was the one I was looking at. Was like, that one would be kind of fun. The Raiders, I like Derek Carr. I think he's highly underrated.
Okay.
They're starting to kind of win, but they've been losing for so long. And I'm picking them up when they're actually in like a city I think they're going to be in for more than just a year and a half.
So something we were talking the other day about. This is kind of one I want to get into.
Yeah.
As we get, I'm going to pull up our power rankings in just a minute, folks.
Go ahead.
If talking draft.
Yes.
Hunter, there are 10 teams right now with 1 loss or less.
Mm-hmm.
After 6 weeks, we got 10 suck jobs so bad. 10, Hunter. That's a third of the league only has 1 win or less. Now, some of these...
Oh, you said 1 win. You started with 1 loss. I was like...
No, if I said that, I'm sorry. I mean,
10 with one win.
One win. Right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So the Cowboys at 2 and 4.
You have none.
So the Cowboys and Patriots of 2 wins are actually picking in the teens right now.
They could get a decent
Think
player.
about that. They're picking in the teens with 2 and 4 wins. So my point, what I want to talk about this is some of these teams aren't actually tanking for Trevor Lawrence. They just suck.
Oh, I know.
So let's go through some of them who just
Now,
stink.
hold on. The one that just stinks, holy, the Jets.
Right, that's where I was
where
gonna
you
start.
start.
But they're
Now-
not tanking.
They're just
For him.
bad.
Right.
Yeah, they're just bad. The question is, if the Jets move off Sam Darnold and you're Trevor Lawrence, do you pull a Eli Manning and say, there's no way I go to this damn dumpster fire in New York?
So Lawrence,
New Jersey, I'm sorry.
So that's I'm going to go through these 10 teams real quick and we'll talk about which teams would want Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
And with 10 teams like that, Hunter, does he not have more leverage to say,
I think he's got
I
all
don't
the
want to
leverage in
go
the
there
world.
right now? Or I don't want to play for you. So let's go through some of these teams. I'm going to ask you some questions. Just kind of let's be as quick as we can. The Vikings,
Yes.
they did not tank this year,
No.
but they've been bad.
Bad.
Would they move off of Cousins with the contract he's on?
Yes.
Okay. Atlanta Falcons, MVP,
Matty Ice.
first overall take quarterback.
They made a Super
Is
Bowl
he
like
the reason
3
that
years
they've
ago.
lost? No.
No.
But did they move off of Trevor Lawrence? Now, here's where teams like Minnesota and Atlanta, who have a quarterback, here's what Lawrence could do. Lawrence could say, I want to play for the Falcons. And then the Falcons say, well, whoever has the 1 pick,
We'll trade you Matt
here comes
Ryan.
Matt Ryan. Like, so the Falcons would have double that. They would have extra leverage that way.
Yeah.
So let's get the Jaguars. They're straight tanking and won't Lawrence. So
Yes.
there's nothing there.
There's nothing there.
The Texans don't want Trevor Lawrence,
They got Deshaun Watson.
and they're 1-5. So they would be in a trade scenario if they got him, and who would trade up to them? I think they don't end up with a 1 pick. They've got to be too talented not to win and end up with the worst record in football.
Who? Texans.
I
Yeah,
think.
they don't get the first pick. Right now, all signs point the Jets might go winless.
Right. Giants.
Yeah, I mean, you're only 2 years invested into Daniel Jones. If he's not the guy compared to what Trevor Lawrence is, why would you not?
What if I'd have told you 3 years ago while Eli's on the field, and when they said, you know what, this is what's gonna happen the next 3 years, Hunter. We're gonna bench him for Geno Smith and end his consecutive start streak. Watch
Which was
Geno
rude.
Smith go shit, just horrible. Be like, okay, that was stupid. Let's put Eli back in, and then we're gonna draft his replacement the next year from Duke, a Duke quarterback.
Right.
And then after 2 years of realizing, hey, we probably shouldn't have drafted a Duke quarterback, we're going to draft another quarterback 1 overall. And so they've drafted basically two quarterbacks in 2 different rounds and 2 first-round drafts.
Wait a minute. I don't even think I think the Giants win another game. So I don't think they'll even be in contention.
Okay, but I'm saying,
No, you're right.
they would move on for Trevor Lawrence, though.
I think they would.
Is there a market for Jones, is the question.
That's the same. It's the same problem that I said Cam Newton would run into. Look, all these teams basically have their quarterback situation filled, and if they don't, they just draft one.
Right.
So if you're a young guy, unless you show a lot of promise, like the only one out of the young quarterbacks, if they move off of him, he has an opportunity to get it. Go somewhere else. Is Sam Darnold? I think Sam Darnold is the only one. I think he is the only one. If the Jets get the first pick and say we're going to take Trevor Lawrence, but we have to move off Sam Darnold, I think he gets a shot But where, though, that's the question. I don't know.
Okay, so Chargers won't be picking. Bengals won't be picking Lawrence. Eagles.
They're not moving. They just spent,
Carson Wentz leading the NFL. Is it too much? Do they have too much money? That's the question.
Yes.
I don't know the details
yes.
on
His
and Kirk
contract
Cousins'
is big.
contracts.
His contract is big, and it's new.
Yeah, and then the Matt Ryan contract. I don't know much about that one either. And then the final team, Washington, of course, they would take Lawrence with the number 1 pick. So teams are actually tanking for Lawrence that we believe: Jets, Jaguars, Redskins, and that's it.
Who are these Redskins you speak of?
Well, whatever. Washington football team, Maryland football team.
Yeah, that old team of mine.
So those are the only three teams I think are actively trying to tank. The rest of them are awful.
And see, here's the thing, too. When it comes down to they finally do, the season's over for college. We've got all the tape we want. There's going to be a big battle for Trevor Lawrence, of course, because he's going to be probably the one that a lot of people are saying he's NFL ready.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sleep on the other two that are coming out behind him. They might literally, if it lines up, let's just say the draft lineup goes this. Jets, Jags, Washington at 3. You could see 3 quarterbacks come off the board, bang, bang, bang. You could see Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and the kid from North Dakota State. 3 in a row. You could.
So let's say the Falcons or Texans end up with the 1 pick, or even the Chargers. Someone that you don't think will get rid of.
What do they ask for that first?
Lawrence,
Right.
exactly.
What do they ask for it?
So is Lawrence, if a team with a quarterback gets the 1 pick, that 1 pick is now more valuable. Because that means any team can trade for him if they want it.
Right.
If the Jets get the 1 pick or the Redskins get the 1 pick,
It's not valuable.
like
Nobody wants it.
nobody's gonna give.
The only team that's going to make a
Well, the
trade
Redskins
for...
aren't gonna give that pick away for 5, 6, 7 picks.
Right.
But the Falcons may.
Now, they might, if Trevor Lawrence pulls the old Eli Manning, say, look, we can still draft him even though he said he don't want to play for us.
Right.
Technically, we can still just have his rights. So how bad do you want to come and get him? Because he's already said he doesn't want to play for us.
Right.
So if you want him, this is still the number 1 overall pick. Technically, we could just go in a different route and draft the other guy. But if you're afraid, say it goes like that. Say Washington has the first pick, the Jets have the 3rd pick, and Jacksonville has the 2nd pick. Well, say Trevor Lawrence doesn't want to come to dysfunctional Washington, but the Jets are like, well, oh shit, Jacksonville's going to draft him if Washington doesn't move off of 1. So how much does New York give to go to 1?
Right. One of the team
Right.
If a team isn't taking Lawrence gets the 1 pick, that's when it gets really.
Now, I
interesting.
have heard a rumor. Well, not a rumor. It is just going around. All the analysts are talking about it. If the Jets secure the number 1 pick, does Lawrence just stay? Does he pull an Andrew Luck and just stay another year?
That'd be stupid. Not with today's money. I don't think so. We've seen. I'm not going to say it won't happen because we've seen some crazy ass shit this year. But to me, Hunter, it's just too much money. It's New York.
I know.
That's not Detroit. That's not Jacksonville. I'd see more saying I'm not playing Jacksonville than I would say New York. New York.
I hope he says he's not playing in Jacksonville. Give Garner his props.
He can
all
make
right?
a shit ton of money in New York. With his style and hair, Miami is the perfect spot for him.
But they got Tua.
But maybe.
Maybe.
I'm not sold on it. I'm just not yet.
Well, he plays this weekend.
Yeah.
They benched old Fitzmagic.
So here is our, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Kevin Hayes. This is mine, not our.
I haven't even made my changes.
These are my power rankings, and this is not necessarily a power ranking as far as what teams I think are the best teams. This is who I think has the best chance to win the Super Bowl. That means chance. That means to be in it. To win it, you have to be in it. That's why the Cowboys are sitting at 14, folks. You look there and be like, why the hell has he got Dallas at 14? Well, they're in the playoffs right now. And the Saints aren't. The Patriots aren't. The Raiders aren't. The Panthers aren't. So the Cowboys have a better chance of making the Super Bowl than the Saints do right now. Now, Hunter, when I look at the teams outside the playoff picture right now, of course, we've got 10 teams with only 1 win. So I guess we're going to mark them off and say, you guys are going to, I'm just going to take one off every week. So, folks, the way it works, here, let's see if I can get my hand right. At the bottom here is these gray teams. Every week I eliminate a team from Super Bowl contention saying, you guys have no chance. There's no point in us talking about you. So we've went in order. So it's, Lions, the 2 New Yorks, Denver, Houston, Atlanta. And this week I'm getting rid of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Hunter. They are purposely tanking.
Yep.
They are not winning a Super Bowl.
Yep.
And, of course, we've got 4 teams with 1 win right now. So we'll be 5 teams with 1 win now, still on the list. We'll be going through them in the next few weeks. But looking at the teams, Hunter, outside 14, besides the Saints, who else from 16 through 21 do you think has a legitimate shot and should make the playoffs? So for you folks listening on the podcast, Saints at 15, Patriots at 16, Raiders 17, Panthers at 18, Dolphins 19. Sorry, I got the hiccup all of a sudden. I got the Eagles at 20 and 49ers at 21. Now, the reason 49ers are behind Miami and Eagles is they lost both of them.
I know, it's weird.
I don't think Garoppolo was playing either one of them, were they? So, 49ers may be better than we think, and they may make a run here. But, I mean, realistically, Hunter, you're not Bengals, Chargers, Vikings ain't coming. The Eagles, you have to leave them in there because they're 1 game out of – never mind. They're a half a game out of first place. After 6 weeks, Hunter, your team has – it's not your team, but the Eagles have 1 win, and they're half a game out of first.
Well, looking at the teams after 15 and just which ones that I think can still make the playoffs, I think Vegas is the one that has the best opportunity to make the playoffs. It's going to be tough, but this is my reasoning behind it. So we know the AFC is loaded.
Yeah, so somebody would have to come out. That would be Colts or Bills, basically. Or Browns.
Yeah, definitely Cleveland.
You think they're the ones?
I think it is, and it's only because it's the division. Okay,
I agree.
Pittsburgh is going to be. It's either going to be Pittsburgh or Baltimore at the end in that division.
I feel the same about the NFC West. Is that it's tough.
It's that division. So I think it would have to be the Browns don't make it because the Bills win. I think the Bills win their division. I think Tennessee wins their division. I think the Colts are close. But you're just asking me who outside of the top 16. So it would be outside of 15, and it would be Las Vegas then.
Yeah.
It really would be. Because I will just say these would be my division winners. It would be Pittsburgh, Tennessee, Buffalo, and Kansas City. And they're all sitting there in the top 10. And then after that, what do we have, 3 wild card spots now?
I think, yeah, 3.
Yeah, 3. So then I would have basically how it lines up right now outside of Cleveland, who's in your top 10, it would be Baltimore, the Colts, and then the Raiders.
Okay. So you feel the Raiders?
I'm feeling the Raiders.
Hunter, true or false?
They did what they needed to do this year, and that's split with Kansas City.
True or false?
I think if they'll have to play them again, they could sweep them.
Pittsburgh, Tennessee, Kansas City, and Baltimore are the only 4 teams that have a chance of winning the AFC.
True or false?
And I'm not saying the other teams aren't any good. I'm saying if you bet anyone else from one of those teams, I think you're
losing money. Yes, I agree with that.
All right, so Steelers, Titans, Chiefs, and Ravens. The Bills could win the NFC.
Yeah, if they were in the NFC, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
It's wide open.
Like
they could.
Right. I'm not saying they would. So looking at Hunter, I was noticing the thing while we were talking about those quarterbacks and teams. Let's say, I don't know. Let's say you're the Falcons and you win the number 1 pick. Let's say you want Trevor Lawrence. Well, that means you got to do something with Matt Ryan. Would the Colts not be like, hey, Matt Ryan, come on over to the Indianapolis Colts? Would the Browns be like, Matt Ryan, come on over?
Well, you have to look at it and say, well, which team is a quarterback away from a Super Bowl?
Bears.
Chicago would do it.
But again,
if that Foles fumbles.
But the Falcons would probably rather trade someone in the AFC if they got
than
rid
the
of
NFC.
Than the NFC.
Then they don't have to see him.
Right. So, but there's not really that many opens in the AFC except Jacksonville, maybe Denver. What about Matt Ryan in Denver? Sling it around.
Well,
up there.
think about it. How the success that they had in Denver came. They didn't draft the quarterback. They just went out and got Peyton Manning. That's what they did. So I wouldn't put it past John Elway. The problem is Drew Lock just came back and you won a game. I mean, he's won some games while he's been there. You just gotta look at the young guy and say, does he have the opportunity? Because we've seen Matt Ryan so far at what we believe is his peak. That was his MVP season. Do you think Drew Lock could be better? It's just one of those things.
If Detroit gets the one, do they take Lawrence?
I think they do, and they move off Stafford.
So Stafford, what would his market be?
Now, I think Matt Stafford has just as good of a market as Matt Ryan does. The problem is that Stafford has run into is that's just a shit organization. They have wasted him.
Yeah.
They have. I mean, we can all agree we've wasted him.
What about Stafford in Chicago?
His arm is big enough to play in any cold and windy city, so I could see him in Cleveland. With those weapons, the most attractive spot for a quarterback, if your team is going to let you go, but you still have fuel in the tank, is Cleveland.
All right,
if they don't like how Baker does for the rest of the season.
We talked to him about him Monday. So here's your variables of Baker. I went through the schedule again. Before the season, I had him at 9 wins. I still got him at 9 wins. With that said, if he has a winning record, Hunter, you haven't had one in 30 years.
Right.
How do you move on from that guy? Now, I'm not saying they won't. I'm not saying they shouldn't. But the Eagles had never won anything. And the dude wins the Super Bowl MVP and you move on from him. I've got Baker somewhere. This is my opinion on Baker. And he's kind of like, I've got him in the Teddy Bridgewater range of quarterbacks right now. To where if you can't get nothing better than him, you better stick with him. Like unless you're let's say the Panthers or Browns, unless you're saying Trevor Lawrence or Aaron Rodgers or Drew Brees is coming to town, stick with what you got. Because here's what I don't want to do: don't get rid of Baker to get an unknown commodity,
and then be right back to where you had just worked to get out of.
I'll take Matt Ryan. I'll take Matt Stafford. If you think this team can win some playoff games, I'll take those. But I'm not taking Kyler Murray, or I'm probably not even taking Carson Wentz for Baker. I'm not taking anyone who isn't proven for him, other than the fact of maybe the number 1 pick in Lawrence. But damn, they ain't getting that first.
All right, would you take Kirk?
Who? Cousins? Hell no. That's a sideways move.
Do you think he's the same?
Right. I think all those guys are pretty much. So I think you only have 5-10 top tier quarterbacks, and everybody else is pretty the same. If again, everyone has different.
Would you take Josh Allen
over Baker? I'd have to have my arm twisted.
There are only 2 quarterbacks.
I'm not saying no.
In that draft, they were drafted the same year. Only 2 quarterbacks have winning records.
Those two?
Is Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson.
Oh, Baker still ain't winning
yet?
The thing, again, unless it's gonna make a difference. No. That's a very good. That's a very good question on that.
Because think about
it. That's a hypothetical that would never happen.
That is just one of those things where if you looked at all, because that will always be the comparison. They do the same thing with Trubisky because Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes went after him and they've had better success.
What about Rivers of Eli Manning?
In that one too. The same thing can happen here. The winning guy right now, because Darnold and Baker went before Josh Allen. So the winner is Josh Allen, just like straight up wins losses. He's got the better record. He's the one that's winning. He's making playoffs. So that'll always be the comparison. Do you think if you were just to move them today, that Josh Allen would not just have better numbers because he would have just as good of a receiving core and running backs as he does already in Buffalo, where he's winning?
I think Josh Allen would be okay there, but again, this is the Cowboys situation. You put Andy Dalton there, Tom Brady, Dan Marino, you put whoever you want to. If your defense gives up 36 points a game, you're not going to win hardly any games. How many good defenses has Baker played with? None. At least Allen the past few years has had a good defense.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson's defenses have been
fantastic.
Good. So, yes, and like I said again, to me he's Alex Smith, he's Kirk Cousins, he's not a loser, but he hasn't figured out the game yet. And I think he's just we don't give the guys enough time. I know this is the 3rd year, and again, if you're the Patriots and you're 2-3, if Baker Mayfield was the Patriots right now and is 2-3, they'd be calling for his head. But he's 4-2 in Cleveland. Again, like I said of Tom, like, do you really get rid of that? Like for years, have Cleveland fans not been like, all we want is 500. All we
All
want
we
is a
wanna do is
winning
a
record.
win.
We just want to compete. And now you got a guy that's competing, and you're being like, well, he ain't good enough for us. Like, who's not good enough for you? You haven't won anything.
Right.
So I don't know, Hunter.
They're looking. They have a champagne taste, but all they've ever known is a beer budget.
Right.
So
Listen, if you know you're improving, I would accept moving off of Baker because if that's what you think you need. But that's going from like, don't get rid of Alex Smith or Teddy
maybe
Bridgewater.
maybe that's not a good example, but it kind of is because all you've ever known so far, if you're the Browns, is a beer taste.
Yeah.
Or a beer budget. That's all you've ever known because you've 1 to 2 wins a year. You had the 0-16 year. It's been a real struggle. I think what it is now is you have now the champagne taste just a little bit. You went to a party and you've tasted a little bit. The wins, the wins, the wins. So now you want more, but you're just not getting it. You're not getting it week to week like you think you need to get it now.
Right. And I think we blame
it's
the
just,
quarterbacks too much.
That's what it is.
Again, Hunter, okay.
What's the most important position in sports?
Of the 14 teams in the playoffs, Dallas, Cleveland, are those the only 2 teams you say their defense is just
horrible?
crap
I'm still
right now?
big question mark about this one right here.
Packers is questionable.
The defense for the Packers is questionable, and I can already tell you just what I've seen. Buffalo's defense is a huge question mark. The 2 best defenses technically that are right here, even in the top 15, is number 1, the Steelers. I'll give them that. And then Chicago.
Seahawks isn't that great.
No, Seahawks is bad too. They're bad too. They're like in the 30s. Like in between 30 and 32.
Think about how bad Earl Thomas has to be that the Seahawks sitting there.
Let him go.
And just like,
they even brought in Jamal Adams thinking it was going to help. Essentially to replace what Earl Thomas was.
done anything. All right, so
They gave up a lot.
our
for
power
him,
poll
too.
for the people listening, Hunter, have no idea what it is. So let me go through it. 25, the Vikings. 24, the Chargers. 23, the Bengals. 22, the Redskins, Maryland football team. 21, the 49ers. I've got the Eagles at 20, Dolphins at 3-3 at 19. Now we get into the serious teams that are trying to win games. How about the Panthers at 18? They're 3-3 overall. Before the season, Hunter, I had them at, I think, 6 wins. Let me check.
I think
Five.
I had them at 4 or 5.
I had them at 5 wins, and the Falcons at 9. So
They could still be there.
combined, let's see if they can get to 14 together.
Yeah.
The Falcons have an easy schedule, Hunter. Like, honestly, if they figure out how to play some defense, I ain't saying they can
You
win
know
the
who they
division.
play this weekend?
Who?
Detroit.
Yeah, like they could win. They can make a playoff run. The Falcons can.
Finish this power poll, and then I have a serious question for you.
Oh God. Raiders at 17. Patriots at 16. I have them there, Hunter, because they beat the Raiders. Even
Yeah.
though I swear the Raiders beat the Chiefs and got beat by the Patriots. I don't know what the Raiders are doing. They're inconsistent. New Orleans at 15. That surprised me. I didn't know that they had been bumped yet, but they had a bye, so they haven't played their 6th game. Cowboys at 14. These are your playoff teams, folks. Cowboys 14. Cardinals 13. Colts at 12. Bears at 11. Bills at 10. Browns at 9. Packers 8. Rams 7. Tampa Bay at 6. Not Green Bay. I've already went by them. Baltimore at 5. Kansas City 4. Tennessee 3. And my Super Bowl picks this year was Seahawks and Steelers. Steelers with the win. They are my 1 and 2 teams. Hunter, of the top 4 teams, I've got 3 of the 4 in there right now. The one I've missed is the Titans. I had them winning the division with 10 wins, but I've got them getting beat.
I think I had Indianapolis winning it, but I had them as a wild card. The Titans.
Right, and we had them flipped.
I had
We
them at least.
flipped.
I had them at least in the playoffs.
Right, we had them flipped, and I had them both getting beat in the first round. I got the Titans get beat by the Ravens in the first round. Is what I had. So there's my preseason predictions. All right, Hunter, what was your very important question?
Well, let me give my top 10 first.
Okay.
So going off of your list and just what I've seen from what I've watched through the football games these first 6 weeks. At number 10, I have the Rams. I had to drop them back all the way to 10th. I did have them within the 6th or 5th, but they lost to the 49ers.
Yeah.
And the 49ers really are not that great this year. They're so injury-ridden. I don't know if that was just a coaching thing where Shanahan outcoached McVay, but I have the Rams at 10.
I don't trust McVay at all.
At 9, I have Green Bay. I had Green Bay drop. I had them, I think, last week within the top 4, but now I have them drop. That defense really is not that great. And if Rodgers gets behind, the metrics have come out. I mean, he's got a losing record. So when he just gets behind, it's almost as if he gives up.
Who's the kid they drafted?
Jordan Love.
Wouldn't they have done better with a safety
Probably.
instead of Jordan Love?
At 8, I have Buffalo. Buffalo, that your defense. Look, man, I love watching y'all. I love watching Josh Allen play. Your defense has got to step up. It's got to step up, or else you're not going to win many games.
Yeah.
At 7, I have the Chicago Bears, and really it is because that defense is disgusting. That defense can flat out get to the quarterback, and not only that, Nick Foles is making it work. Nick Foles is making it work. He's out there, and he's slinging the ball around 5-1. They only got 1 loss, too. Let's remember that as well. At 6, I have Tampa Bay.
Hunter, I'm going to read the rest of the first round after Green Bay picked the quarterback.
Yeah.
Next pick, linebacker. Next pick, linebacker. Then offensive tackle to Tennessee. And then the Dolphins and Vikings went cornerback. So
Yeah.
for the next 5 picks after
Defense.
they picked was defense.
And fun fact, they traded up to get that pick, too.
Who did?
Green
Green
Bay,
Bay.
the Packers.
Yeah.
6, I have it. Tampa Bay matches your 6. I think just week to week, barring any injuries, they'll just get better. The chemistry will just get better. The team will buy into more what Brady wants them to be. At 5, I have the Ravens. That matches yours. At 4, I have Seattle because of defense. I know what they can do on offense. I know what Russell Wilson can do, and they're undefeated. But that defense is questionable. So you can just go ahead and say that the first 3 are AFC teams. That shows you how strong the AFC is. 3 is Kansas City. You've lost the game. But I still think you might be the best team in the league. Second, I have Tennessee. And first is Pittsburgh.
Now, that is a power ranking.
Yes.
Mine is a
Yes, you are a Super Bowl poll. Mine is power rankings. These are the best teams in football.
Right. Mine was the chances to winning the Super Bowl. That's why Seattle's in the 2 spot, because the NFC team has to make the Super Bowl.
Right.
Unless
Now-
they come up with a rule this year that no NFC East teams are allowed.
Thank God. Now to my serious question.
Oh, God.
Do I start Matt Stafford or Matt Ryan this weekend?
It's not a
Both-
serious question.
That is a serious question because both of them.
Schedule.
But no, they play each other.
Oh.
They both have shit defenses.
Is Julio back yet?
Yes.
Yeah, play him.
Play Matt Ryan.
Julio's back, isn't he? His
Yeah.
receivers are good.
Listen, this is where my conundrum is. I started Matt Ryan since week 1, and he did good for like the first 2 weeks. But these past 2 weeks, until this week, he was maybe like in the 12s. At 1 week, he got me 8 points. So you know what I did? I benched him last week. Do you know what he did on my bench? He dropped 31 points.
Yeah, he don't have to win the game for your fantasy team to be good.
So I'm sitting here, and guess who I started over him? Matt Stafford. And he had 12. So I was in a predicament last week, and now these two play each other, and I know how bad the Falcons' defense really is. It is not good. So
Well, the Falcons
it's almost a coin flip.
Falcons giving up 31 a game.
Detroit,
29.
I can't. So now I'm just
Matt Ryan is second in passing yards in the NFL. Dak
I
Prescott,
was about to say he's second to Dak.
Dak hadn't played in a game and a half.
And he's still first. He had what, almost 2,000 yards? He had 1,800?
He's got 1,800. The Dallas leadership is just, I tried to tell y'all 5 years ago.
All right.
You don't get rid of players that can play. You don't get rid of quarterbacks that can play.
Well, then looks like I'm going to make the change right now.
So,
Edit lineup. Move.
I mean, Hunter, Matt's second. Stafford's 21st in yards. Matt Ryan, they're averaging the same per attempt.
Yeah, but the Atlanta has got like the 32nd worst defense to a quarterback in the league.
But isn't Atlanta's receivers way better than whatever Detroit's got?
Yeah.
I can't even name a Detroit wide receiver.
Kenny Galladay.
So there you go. I have no idea. He could walk in this building right now with his jersey on, and I would think he's a fan. Not a real NFL player. I think he's a fan. So Dude, I like. I mean, as long as Julio's out, there, look, he's going to get regular numbers.
Julio's back.
He's getting regular numbers without Julio. Now with Julio out there,
Julio is back and had 2 touchdowns. So
yeah. You know what I'd do if I was you? Trade Stafford.
I just might drop him. Ain't nobody gonna pick up Stafford. There are too many good quarterbacks in the league. That was my problem. I took Matt Ryan thinking, yes, he's gonna be a good quarterback. He's got the weapons all around him, and everybody just started getting hurt.
Well, he's second yards,
and he just struggled. Yeah, but this is. You understand most of the points in fantasy for a quarterback still come from touchdowns.
Yeah,
he went like 3 weeks in a row without a touchdown pass. It was killing me. So yeah, he could throw for like almost 200 yards, but that's still only like 8 points.
Yeah, he's 8th in touchdowns. At least he's not throwing picks. Kirk Cousins, shit, he's got 10 picks.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins threw 3 touchdowns and 3 picks this past weekend.
Baker's 13th in touchdown passes. Cousins has the most picks with 10, Wentz 9, Fitzpatrick 7, Phillip Rivers, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray.
I knew Phillip
Daniel
Rivers would be up there.
Jones.
I know Phillip Rivers would be up there.
I want to look at real quick the Cowboys
Remaining schedule.
No, just the Cowboys Cardinals game from Friday night. That was something I wanted to tell you. You know, we talk about what's wrong with the Cowboys. I mean, Hunter, they had 4 turnovers. They got beat by 28 points. Well, that's simple math.
4 times 7
is 28.
28.
So, and like you said, Zeke fumbled twice, which is just ridiculously stupid. I don't think he's. Listen, Hunter, if you're again,
he got his money and was never the same.
We've said this for years. If you're a running back. And think about it. In high school, you get 200 carries. The next junior, then senior year, you get 200 carries. Then 3 years in college. So now you're at 1,000 carries, and the only thing you've ever been paid in is sweatsuits and spaghetti at the cafeteria. Now they're going to give you $15 million a year, and after busting your ass for.
Right.
8 years. So 8 years of that's 1,600 carries or whatever, basically. So after 8 years and 1,600 carries, they give you $15 million, Hunter. Are you going to take an extra step out of bounds this time? Are you going to get down earlier? Are you going to take that extra hit?
I don't know.
There's so many questions because you want to get paid. You don't want to get cut getting paid $15 million a year. So the best availability.
You don't want to get hurt. There's bonuses involved.
The best ability is availability.
Yeah.
So these running backs, once you give them that money. It's almost best to pay them. It's almost like there's no middle road. Everybody's making $3 million or $15 million. Ain't nobody out here just making
nobody in the middle.
8. Like, wouldn't it be better if the Browns paid Chubb and Hunt both 8 or 9, as instead of both 15? Like they just paid Hunt $15 million. Like they're not going to have to pay Chubb
eventually
next year or the next.
Right.
Like so, where do they think that money's going to come from? It's just stupid. It's just stupid. Trying to get this score up. Cardinals and Cowboys.
It was like 28-0, or it was very lopsided. Let me say that. I will say this too: there is nobody on that Dallas defense that could keep up with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray could be the fastest quarterback in the league.
He might be, but he's not a quarterback.
Running back.
I don't know what he is, but he ain't a quarterback. That's why I said of Cam, like, make a heck of a fullback. He's a heck of an athlete. He's a good runner. Hunter. And what I mean by he's not a quarterback. Let me read you his wonderful passing stats.
No, it was not.
9 of 24. 9 of 24.
Trust me, I knew it because I have DeAndre Hopkins, and that's one of the top 3-4 receivers in the league, and he just is not producing what he could.
Andy Dalton threw 54 passes. Elliott had 12 carries. Pollard, 10 carries. So again,
well, they ran the ball 25 times.
27 runs total against 54 passes with Andy
It's
Dalton.
a little lopsided on one area.
It doesn't matter who your quarterback is. You really shouldn't get to 40 pass attempts. If you get to 50, you're in trouble. And it might be the defense, Hunter. It might be, and that's what they got to do. But damn it, Kenyon, they had the Cardinals had 261 rushing yards.
I thought it was a lot of throwing, just like when I would play an NFL, like Madden or something, and I threw 30-plus times. I was like, damn, I really threw the ball.
Right.
These guys are throwing 50 to 60 times.
It's just silly.
That's dumb. It's just dumb,
Right.
especially if it's getting nowhere. Like, if it's not working, why are you still doing
If
it?
Romo threw it 50 times, he'd have 400
Like,
yards.
what was his completion percentage?
Who? Kyler Murray?
No, Dalton's.
Dalton was 34 of 54, so close to 60%.
Well, okay, that was working. But think about it. It should work. They got receivers all over the field.
I honestly, again,
If that's why are they throwing it that many times because they're like, we have so many hands to feed on this wide receiver group?
maybe, but
And because our offensive line isn't quite the run blocking offensive line it should be because of the injuries? I don't know.
Kenya, basically, Arizona ran 8 more times than Dallas did. Kenyon Drake had 8 more carries
He got a touchdown too, I think.
than Zeke had. Just in total, Hunter, let me just give it to you this. Arizona had 59 plays.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Dalton threw it 54 times. And they got beat 38-10. Like, there's an efficiency standard somewhere. There's a war stat for that somewhere, Hunter,
Somewhere.
that says, yeah, y'all sucked. And you held the quarterback to go 9 of 24 for $188. And 2 of those 9 were touchdowns. What the fuck they doing? I tell you, that dog just bad defense. Just
That defense is horrible.
it sucks. All right. Any other news and notes on the NFL? It seems like I had one more, maybe.
I have none.
Let me see. Let me check my fun tweets.
I have none other than I guess I'm going to have to just go forward and figure out which new team to pull for because I'm seriously about done with all of the shenanigans going on in Washington. Even after I just got so excited we drafted Chase Young, I'm just as sick of him as I am this year as I was last year. I'm just sick of him.
Saints still unclear over Michael Thomas's ankle. Decision to start Tua broke Ryan Fitzpatrick's heart.
It should.
I mean, he didn't get benched. He shouldn't have been
That's
benched.
what I'm saying. He did nothing to deserve a benching. If anything, let him go on to see if he throws 5 touchdowns or 5 picks this weekend. You never know.
So what do you think about Tua?
That is, just off the top of my head, I think Shannon Sharp said it, and I agreed with it. He said, he was shocked at the move, and I was too, because of what me and you talked about. They have an opportunity here to have a winning record in like the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I don't quite understand the move unless you just think Tua is just as good as what Fitzpatrick is giving you on the field.
There's probably a fairly decent answer.
There's
to that.
if I'm not mistaken, I think this week is their bye week, maybe too. So a lot of people are speculating that this is them giving him that also extra week of preparation to get ready, and then they're gonna let him go from here. But I still think, Fitzpatrick knew his role. He knew what he was to the Dolphins organization.
Right.
I can't remember. I think it was an interview he did with Adam Schefter on Schefter's podcast, and he said, look, I know eventually I'm going to hand the reins over to Tua. He knows his role. It's to be a mentor and to go out there and try and win ball games right now. But he didn't do anything deserving to lose his job. Yeah. And it's not like, he's injured, so Tua has to come in like Justin Herbert did. Tyrod Taylor got his dang lung punctured, so we got 5 minutes before game time start Justin Herbert. No. Fitzpatrick just went out there and did what? He won a game, and he ended up getting benched.
All right, Hunter, the Cleveland Indians tweeted out the 3-1 support group meets on Tuesdays for Atlanta Braves fans.
Yeah, we need it.
The Indians, the official Twitter feed. And Hunter, here's the artwork that went with it. It says, hello, my name is the Atlanta Braves, and it's been 1 day since I blew a three-run lead. Hello, my name is the Atlanta Braves. That's pretty good. I found some funny ones. Man. Let's see.
That's still sore, still tender.
All right, now this one, Hunter, I just got to say it because it's hilarious. And this has nothing to do with really sports, but I'll say I texted my friend last night after reading this, and all I said was, "Have you been to Vegas?" Okay.
Okay.
So here was the tweet. Sometimes I think about the guy at my poker table in Vegas who was kicked out after the pit boss said he was too drunk, and in parentheses, high bar.
High bar.
Security came over, asked him to say the alphabet starting with the letter M. Mm-hmm. His response was, Malphabet. And he was immediately escorted out of the room.
Say the alphabet starting with the letter M.
And he said,
Malphabet.
And Hunter, I've got a friend. I text him immediately. I said, is this you? Like, is this you? Because that is exactly, he has a tendency to let his alcohol get to him a little bit. And yeah, that's him.
Man.
I could just, when I read that, I heard it in my friend's voice saying, Malphabet. Just and he would have said it angry too. He'd be like, Malphabet. Just, oh God. I could see him doing it. Oh, I text him. This is you. This is all you. All right, Hunter. So any other, no other NFL news and notes?
No other
It seemed like I
NFL news
missed
and
something while I
notes.
was clicking on something. But that's okay. Did you see? Well, before I get over to, I want to look over my college football poll again real quick. LSU to ban Odell Beckham over payments. That just came across.
Well.
Now we've got some NBA news.
Yeah, that was the one that I saw earlier. If it's the one I think you're going to say. The head coaching hiring.
That one, but that's not. That was my second thing. The first thing was the Wolves don't know who the number one pick is.
I don't think anybody does.
Would it be
Truthfully.
better for them to trade out then?
If they can get something,
Don't somebody got 2 top 10 picks? Atlanta or
Boston?
something like that? I don't know.
I don't know.
And Van Gundy, that's the Stan version, has reached a deal to coach Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans. I think that's great for Zion to get a good, experienced coach. I don't see what was wrong with Alvin Gentry. I don't know what happened with that. But there's also rumors that Jeff may be going back to Houston. That's what I don't.
Huh?
I saw that one yesterday too. That there's rumors that Jeff Van Gundy may be in discussions to get back to the Houston.
And you know
Rockets.
what? None of these teams have even picked up the phone and called Mark Jackson.
I was gonna say called you.
I just don't understand.
Jackson's pretty decent.
Mark Jackson was building that Golden State team.
He's not an analytic guy, I don't think, and I think that's what all the GMs. and
Even
everything-
Daryl Morey just stepped down from his
Right.
position with the Rockets. So how much
I
is that
wonder what
analytics
happened
really
with that.
working?
I really do wonder what happened with that. I think that was a fault. That had to be some type of a.
Falling out between ownership and him.
There had to have been some words I think said
Probably. It probably
that-
was not a clean break.
that got out on that. Yeah, that just looked weird.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that when that happened.
Let's see.
Because I knew D'Antoni was. I knew he was going to move off D'Antoni, so I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, then Morey's just going to hire somebody that he thinks can take this team to the next level." And then Morey's like, "You know what? I've had enough."
Should Houston trade Westbrook, Harden, neither or both?
Both. Blow it up. Just blow it up.
Blow it up. Sis.
Blow it up. See if you can get some picks. Blow it up, and just start from scratch. You essentially are doing that now with a new GM and a new coach.
If you're Chris Paul, do you want to be a Laker or a Clipper again? Since Doc's not there.
Well, he's gonna want to be a Laker because he's playing with his banana boat buddy,
It's
the
just-
LeBron. You know?
Just what I was wondering.
Yeah, I think that would be it.
Okay. Did you do anything else NBA on that?
If I was really Chris Paul, I would want to go play with Giannis in Milwaukee. I know, and I'm not saying anything about the city. I'm just saying, why would I go and play at a place where, like, when I was in Houston, James Harden is going to have the opportunity to bring the ball up. LeBron James is going to be the point guard bringing the ball
That's
up.
what I was saying. Think about him going to the Clippers.
I mean, does Kawhi bring it up every now and then?
Fuck
Paul
Kawhi,
George.
man.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just
That's
don't
how
know.
they do
To
it.
me, like, you know good and well, Giannis is not bringing the damn ball up the court. He's
Yeah.
going to go sit in the block, post up somebody, and just absolutely abuse him.
Well, rumors are the Knicks are interested in Westbrook.
Why? But, okay.
Got to sell tickets to somebody for
You
something or
do.
somebody.
You really do.
Again, Hunter, that's the Cleveland Browns situation. Like, we're going to get mad year after year after year that some random rookie we pick ain't Michael Jordan, or are we going to actually make a move and get someone who can play?
Mm.
And think about Westbrook in the East. What is his numbers going to be?
He's going to have stupid numbers.
Triple-double.
And here's the thing. Even if
Every night.
Even if he gets the Knicks to an extra, 10 wins, that's competing for a playoff spot in the East.
Right. I mean, I was about to say, could him and anyone else that can score 20 not compete for a playoff spot in the East?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where they're looking at that.
I guess.
So there's an idea on that one. Before I get over to our college rankings, what I did on the rankings, Hunter, I went back and did the math on them and put everybody where they're supposed to be. So I updated that for you.
Ah,
So we can kind of talk about that. We decided Andre and I, that while we think it's neat and cool to reward the champions of the non-Power 5, that the powers that be would never allow that to happen.
Ah, yes, I can agree with that.
So what we decided to do, folks, this is Kevin Hastings, and with approval from Andre and Hunter, playoff format, what's it called when you, proposal, there we go.
Yeah.
Proposal.
Proposal.
We want all 16 teams, automatic qualifiers for the 10 Power 5 teams that make their conference championship game. They'll get the top 10 seeds. Winners will get the top 5. Losers get the next 5. Then the next 5 seeds are from the non-Power 5. The group of 5 is what we call them.
Yes, the group of 5.
Conferences after
We call them the lesser 5.
which includes Apps Conference, the Sun Belt.
No, they should call them the weaker 5.
Now, yeah, if it's Power 5,
The Power 5, we just call them the weaker 5 or the sidekicks.
the girl push-ups 5.
I guess whatever. So dumb.
Or remember when I don't know. At some point they said they're not girl push-ups; they're called modified because they don't want to offend anyone.
Right. I'll do that then.
There you go. So
The modified group.
and so the 16 seed, I decided to give to an independent / Division 2 or 3 school, if you even want it, or 1AA, to anyone other than a Power 5. Basically, whatever bid you want. And
16 to me, I feel like that should just be open to the highest ranked independent. But do as you wish.
But what if all the independents suck? And then somebody like, say, Montana's undefeated in Division 1AA, 14-0, win the championship. Okay. And then you're like, okay,
North Dakota State.
let's put in, Air Force at 6-6. Well, they're in the conference now, but is it one of them? Is it Navy? One of them's not in the conference
I
anymore.
think it's Army.
Now, Army, there you go. At 6-6, or do we put in, like I said, the Montana team or the Gardner Webb? So just whoever it is.
Well, technically, after this year, Notre Dame will go back to independent. So
whoever it is going to get their ass kicked in the first round at the 16 seed. So
Right.
so to argue about who it should be, if you're arguing, well, my third place ACC team, Tar Heels deserve over BYU. No, the fuck they don't.
okay,
You done
we'll
got
go
beat.
here.
So here's what we got, folks. Here are the matchups for the playoffs. Dun 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 dun. All right, first round.
Bum, 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 bum.
116 would be Clemson BYU. This is if it ended today, folks. And we're going to do this every week because it's going to change every week once the Big 10, Pac-12, or
actually
Pac-14
play.
start playing football.
Pac-12.
The WAC hadn't played, right, either?
Neither's the MAC.
Or the MAC. So we got 4 conferences that hadn't even played yet. So 4 of these,
Mountain West hadn't played either.
5 of these, plus, so 6 of these spots are going to change at some point. So we got 116 BYU. Then we got the 8 and 9 seeds, 2 teams that are second in their conferences, Hunter. So they would be in the 8 and 9, and I did them so after I did the top 5, and then I did their rankings in order. I did the next 5, and I put their rankings in order. Did the same thing with the group of 5. So that's how we got the order. So right now, Iowa State would be playing at Wisconsin. Good matchup, Hunter.
Very good.
Then in that same bracket, Oklahoma State in round 1 would be hosting. This is the Sun Belt spot right now. It could be in one of the other spots, but currently it's Coastal Carolina. It could be Appalachian State or one of these other ones. So Oklahoma State hosting Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers, the Fighting Chickens, Hunter. It's wonder Peter really hadn't got on about that
Oh,
one.
God.
Oregon Ducks at the 5 seed. This would be a Green Bowl hosting the Marshall Thundering Herd. Then on the other side of the bracket, Alabama Crimson Tide hosting Akron. The Zips. Now, the reason the Zips are in that spot, Hunter, is purely one reason only.
They start with A.
Alphabetical.
Yep.
That conference hadn't played yet. I think I look back. I think Central Michigan might have won that conference last year. No, it was either Central Michigan and Miami of Ohio tied for that conference championship last year. But I put Akron in there because they're A's. I love their logo.
It's a kangaroo.
Do you know what the Zips is for, though? Has nothing to do with
Is it because of a zipper on a hoodie?
no, about tires. that in Akron is Goodyear headquarters. That's where the blimp. That's where the blimp is at. So it's something to do with that. I don't know the exact. My roommate told me one time. I guess we could all Wikipedia it. If we want to. But my roommate told me one time, and I thought that was very interesting. Little story there. The Akron Zips are named after something with the Goodyear tires and their kangaroos from Australia. So
There you go.
that's like the Alabama is a red wave with
But it's an elephant
mascot. And when they score, they have an elephant blow his tusk. Can't
Trunk.
blow his tusk, blow his trunk. Tar Heels are named after Civil War fighters, basically.
Oh my God!
And
It's a ram.
and they're the ram. They're a ram, but they're not called the Rams. It's, at least that thing's called an elephant. TNUSC Trojans at Georgia. Hunter, how would you feel about the Bulldogs
We'd blow them out.
playing the Trojans?
We'd blow them out.
Okay. Number 3, Ohio State hosting Boise State Broncos.
Be nice to watch.
Then we would have Notre Dame and Cincinnati. Would that be the closest game
Yes.
of week 1 besides maybe Iowa State, Wisconsin?
I still think Wisconsin could probably lay a whipping
Yeah.
on Iowa State. That's just because Wisconsin will play defense. Iowa State won't.
Yeah.
I think Cincinnati, Notre Dame would be the closest.
Okay. Now, let's look ahead to the next week, Hunter. So basically what you would do is these teams play at home, and round 2 though would be the bowls, the Power 5 bowls. So you got your 4 bowls and you got your whatever. So, well, no, that wouldn't be round 2. Let's see. If round 2 would be 1, 2, 3, 4 games, and then the next round would be 2, however you want to do it, whatever. It'd be at a neutral site preferably. But if you want to do first 2 rounds at home, you could. So we'd have Clemson, Wisconsin in round 1. Now we're going to go chalk on these folks because there's argument. Well, you only do 8 teams, and you do that. So if you do 8, you're cutting teams off. There's going to be teams that make championship games that aren't making it. There's definitely the group of 5 ain't going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So Oklahoma State and Oregon, Hunter, the O versus the O.
I would give the nod to Oklahoma State.
Okay. Alabama and Georgia for the 3rd time would be playing based on the rankings this year in the 2nd round of the playoffs. Would the 3rd time be a charm? No. Or are you taking 3 ass whoopings from Alabama this year?
Probably 3 ass whippings. They haven't learned. They haven't learned. Like, Kirby Smart can't get past Nick Saban. I don't understand it.
What I want to get about as far as Alabama goes, they have studs at wide receiver every year.
Every year.
And they never have a quarterback that's worth a damn. Them at Ohio State.
Mac Jones is going to be pretty good, but
He's going to be in the NFL?
Probably.
Maybe.
He's
We'll
looking
see.
really good this year.
And then Notre Dame, Cincinnati, who you got? It'll be Notre Dame, Ohio State. So Tom would get his Irish.
His hate for the Irish.
His Irish. They'll say if it just goes chalk, which everybody thinks it would. So we'd have
Let's go chalk.
Clemson, Oklahoma State, and Alabama, Ohio State.
And guess what? Some would argue, well, there's your 1, 2, 3, and 4. Why'd you play the other games?
Because
We
guess
give them
what,
an
folks?
opportunity.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's better. This isn't hard for Coastal Carolina to play Oklahoma State in a playoff game than Alabama play Mercer in week 1, or Alabama play Western Carolina in week 5. That's the argument. Well, what are we going to do? Well, you get a home game for making the playoffs, or for being a good team. There's your first one. So you get to make up that Mercer gate you lost.
Yep.
And then, again, you get to play these teams the same. It'd end up being about the same number of games. So yeah, I think they could do this. This would be my ultimate get her done type thing because I want everyone with a chance. And it would set up moments that
And
it would
listen.
set up March Madness type moments.
And
What did we
listen.
call it the other day? January Jubilation.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
January Jubilee.
Yeah. And listen, there's no guarantee that Oregon beats Marshall. There's no guarantee that after what I saw this weekend from Notre Dame, they beat
about to say, can
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati
there's
not knock them off?
just no guarantee that look, Georgia could get beat by Southern Cal, and then Southern Cal has to play Alabama. Alabama and Southern Cal were supposed to play this year in a non-conference game. That didn't happen. Well, it could have happened here. And I want everybody to understand too. Clemson and Wisconsin. There's no guarantee it's a blowout. I think Clemson still wins. There's no guarantee it's a blowout because Wisconsin, what do they do usually? They run the ball, control the clock, and play hard defense. So, giving everybody an opportunity is just as good as knocking everybody out.
Our arguments are basically, wouldn't it be better if Clemson played BYU, Wisconsin, Oklahoma State, and Alabama instead of...
think about it. At the NFL level, if the NFL did it exactly how college football does it right now and only take the top 4, we don't get those 2 wins by Tennessee last year in the playoffs.
Eli Manning would not have a Super Bowl.
I know. It's ridiculous.
Eli Manning wouldn't have 2 Super Bowls.
It's ridiculous.
Hey, Brady could be 7. Oh, no. He's got, 6-3?
Yeah, it could be
like 8-1 if it wasn't for Eli Manning.
Oof.
If it wasn't for if we voted teams in, Hunter, Brady would be 8-1 in the Super Bowl.
Probably.
And then we wouldn't be talking about whether he is the GOAT or not, or people would argue that still. So yeah, there you go. Anything else on the college football scene, Hunter?
Nope, not from me.
Final thoughts. Anything else? We got World Series. Dodgers win game 1.
Screw them.
I picked the Rays. Get my hat back out. I hadn't had it on today. I've been trolling them.
Listen, stick with them. Stick with them. I'm rooting for the Rays.
You put your Dodgers hat on, Hunter?
No.
No.
They got Blake Snell on the mound tonight.
We got a Dodgers hat right here, and you won't wear it.
No, hell no, I'm not wearing the Dodgers. Here, I'll show the people the Dodgers. Here.
Here we go. Yeah.
Nah. Yeah. None of them.
That Rays hat's sweet.
I'd much rather
that Dodgers hat.
I'd much rather the Rays win. I think the best chance they have to win is tonight. They're not pitching Buehler tonight for the Dodgers. They're pitching Buehler tomorrow. And the Rays can also look at it and say, well, we got Kershaw out of the way. I know we lost, but we don't have to see him again tonight or tomorrow. But I will say this. If the Dodgers do win, and Kevin, I don't know if you might disagree with what I'm saying, but I think that their real World Series was the NLCS at the level of competition.
I picked the Rays to win the thing. I'm not.
That's exactly why I said you wouldn't agree.
I picked the Rays to win it from the beginning.
The pitching, that I will give the nod to the Rays.
I didn't think the Dodgers were getting out of the second round. But I didn't think they had case y'all.
I know. But the bats that they're dealing with are nowhere close to what they just had to try and deal with Atlanta. So therefore, Buehler and Kershaw and the gentleman that they're pitching tonight, his last name begins with a G. I can't quite pronounce it off the top of my head.
Gorgonzola.
Yeah, whatever.
No.
Fine. That's a cheese. But the guys that they're pitching against aren't necessarily the level of hitters they just saw. So I feel like the real World Series for them was the NLCS, and that's just me.
Brave fan.
That's just me.
So folks that aren't from around here don't know us. We're here in the upper left corner of Gaston County, in the bottom right corner of Gaston County today, Hunter. The President of the United States will be coming into town and doing one of his rallies in Gastonia. I don't know if you noticed out front, Hunter, but there's a car missing.
The pink Cadillac.
Mm-hmm.
I did notice it was missing.
It's going on a trip tonight.
Is it?
All I'm saying is that you should watch TV tonight and see if you see a pink Cadillac on television.
So the pink Cadillac might be chauffeuring the president?
No.
Oh.
No. That's I mean, you're technically in the wheelhouse, but
is he gonna stand on top of it?
How about this? The U.S. representative from this area's family is using it. So we don't know if they're parking 5 miles away like the rest of everybody, or if they're getting a VIP parking spot So we don't know if the pink Cadillac is going to be out there under Air Force One.
And would you look at that?
Like, it could
over
be
in the corner.
again. It could be 10 miles away and they have to walk. Or he could have a
pink Cadillac
good
right
spot,
there.
a good spot. He could have a good spot. Someone took it down the road and washed it today and got it all cleaned up for him
There they go.
to borrow it. I was just warning you.
There might be a just like in the back corner, and you're like squinting.
You've
you're
got to look in the
there's
corners.
the
in the
pink
back.
There's the Cadillac.
I'm telling you.
There's large Marge.
Oh God, extra large Marge.
Extra large Marge.
So what you don't get? Like, we used to have. That's the third pink Cadillac we've had.
Oh my God, there have been others.
Yeah, there's been large Marge. There's been. Get this. We had a convertible pink one. We called her Topless Marge.
And now
we've got extra large Marge. Because it's a limousine. That one's got extra booty on.
Oh no. Oh God.
Well, Hunter, real quick before we get out, that was my final thought, but something you made me look up real quick. The Rays don't have a single batter over 300 in the regular season. I'm trying to find their best one. Is their pitching their thing?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
because
what
they don't
it's
have
been.
a single batter over,
That's what it's been.
over 277.
They just, they've always said great pitching nullifies great hitting, but what if you're facing another team with just as good of pitching?
Yeah, they're not. They're in
That
the
you
top,
can't hit.
He's not even in the top 50.
No, they can't hit at all.
All right. Well, folks, I guess that'll do it tonight for today. Tune in to the President's Rally and see if you see large Marge out there.
What if he's up there on stage? And there's this beautiful pink Cadillac
God,
when I pulled up.
Hunter,
Oh my God.
I will shit myself, pee myself, and we will call an emergency show
Press
for tomorrow,
conference.
and we'll have everybody come in here and talk about that. We'll have to call.
Just say you should have told them, and if the president wants a picture with it, he's more than welcome to take a picture with that pink Cadillac.
We told the guys to make sure they take plenty of pictures.
He's just sitting there. There's this beautiful pink Cadillac.
Did y'all
Just
see
wonderful.
that pink
Just
caddy
wonderful pink Cadillac.
sitting right over there? Go ahead, fake news. Turn around and,
Yeah,
and
look
show
at it. Look at it. It's
show
right there. It's right there.
Beautiful car,
I
beautiful
wanted to
car.
ride in it, but they said maybe not.
It didn't have the bulletproof.
It didn't have the bulletproofing. But maybe I can work something out.
Golly. What a crazy world. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in to KTC Broadcasting. What if he does, Hunter? If he did,
I don't know.
If he says the words pink Cadillac night. I mean, that's funny, bro. I hadn't even thought about that.
And there was this, and if you guys see behind me, there's this beautiful pink Cadillac. Wonderful. You wonder for people of Gaston County with this
She
pink
used to be
Cadillac.
large, now she's extra large.
That one time topless.
That's
But
extra.
Get us outta here.
All right. We'll see you guys next week or Saturday morning, KTC Broadcasting. Tom and Terry will be here. Actually, Tom might not be here, Hunter. So I may have to find a replacement. He's got to do extra umpiring. And if he's got to do extra umpiring, Terry might too. So I don't know what's going to happen this Saturday. So me and Hunter will be here. We'll have breakfast. And if we have to do anything, we'll talk to JP about the shock of the whole week. Go Wichita State. We'll see you guys next Saturday on KTC Broadcasting.com.